What is up, guys? Grimlock here, back with another bangerangin' video for you guys. We're going to be going over an entire Elemental Shaman guide for 10.0.5, ladies and gentlemen. This includes our builds, our stat priority, our macros slightly, and some other stuff, our enchants, everything you could want to know about the Elemental Shaman Dream. It's right here in this video. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, here's the video. Alright, so our first step is to go over our talent slash the build. So guys, this is the build that I've been running in solo shuffle. I've achieved duelist plus with this, no problem. It seems really solid, so we'll just go over this build right now. This is my shaman side of the tree. We make sure we pick up Earth Elemental so we can get our Earth Shield and our Elemental Orbit. This is important because you want to be able to have both Earth Shield and your Lightning Shield on at the same time. Another crucial part of this is to pick up Surging Shields. This makes sure that your Lightning Shield triggers Mad Maelstrom. Also does a pretty decent amount of damage for just like a passive shield. And it increases the healing done by your Earth Shield by 25%, which is really big, considering Earth Shield does, it's saying 9k, but it actually does closer to like 12k inside PvP combat. Let's see here. Yeah, 11.5k. So 11.5k per time you take damage is actually really big. It helps a lot with living. I personally take Brimming with Life because it's basically a better fort buff that's not dispellable. Kind of crazy. As you can see in PvP combat, I have 407k health right now. We'll go over my gear in a little bit. But elemental side of the tree, key things you want to pick up. You don't have to pick up Cap Stun because you have Lightning Lasso. You don't really have to pick up Tremor Totem versus certain comps. What I suggest going instead, like if you don't need a Fear Dispel, pick up Spirit Walkers. If you don't need a Cap Stun either, pick up Spirit Walkers and Spirit Walkers Aegis. Both really good just because you get that immune to silence. You can walk around corners and Hex for free. Really good stuff there. So, this is the elemental side. Definitely pick up, Fire and Ice, Ancestral Defense, Elemental Warding, all really good. I almost always take Earth Grab Totem. It's really rare I wouldn't take Earth Grab Totem just because Earth Grab Totem is so strong versus melee cleaves right now, and they're so prevalent that it's almost like a necessity. So, yeah, pick that up. I have stopped really taking Voodoo Mastery because Hex being on a 30-second cooldown compared to a 15-second isn't too influential because I only get like 1 or 2 Hex casts off in an arena anyways. It's really rare that I get the cast off. And it being on a 15-second cooldown is actually kind of bad because you can accidentally DR your Hex. Whereas if it's on a 30-second cooldown, there's no chance of you DRing your own Hex, which is really good. Just because, it's like a built-in DR tracker kind of. I mean, obviously 15-second cooldown is good. You can swap it from one target to the other back and forth, and you'll never DR that way either. But I don't think it's necessary. So like I said, Spirit Walker's Grace, Spirit Walker Aegis, or Capstone Tremor Totem, very good. I do take Spirit Walk. I noticed a lot of people are taking Gust of Wind instead, and some people take Thunderous Pause, which basically acts as Spirit Walk. Like you can literally just use Ghost Wolf similar way that you would use Spirit Walk, but Spirit Walk is really good because you can use it while silenced. And it removes all movement impairing effects, whereas the Thunderous Pause only removes snares, which I believe does not include roots. So that's really important because when you get root beamed by a boomy, for instance, you can Spirit Walk out of it, whereas you can't turn into Ghost Wolf while root beamed, and it wouldn't even dispel the snare. So, and also Spirit Wolf is just really good. Get a 20% stacking damage reduction is really solid. So going over onto the elemental side of things here. You take all your basic stuff here. You don't have to take Primordial Fury. I just don't know where I want to put it instead. Like if I take this off, realistically I would put it in Power of the Maelstrom, but I don't think I want to. I don't think it's necessary. I might mess around with doing this instead and going the rest of the build. So like if I did, let's see, I'm trying to get, we're going to do this, take this off. Yeah, see, it still says 1. Okay, wait, I have an idea. So let's do this, take this, then take this off. There you go. And this off. And so something like that would be really interesting because then you'd be able to get big lava burst procs and you don't need this. Flame Tongue weapon is nice, but you don't need this as well. This is actually a pretty interesting build. I might try this out. I haven't used this before, but it could be pretty good just because Flux Melting is so strong, in my opinion. And you can hit up to like 80k Lava Bursts, no problem, using Flux Melting. So I would try out this build, but standardly I use Primordial Fury and Improved Flame Tongue weapon. But I've noticed that Primordial Fury isn't as needed as it you'd think it is. It's good for big heals, but you don't technically need it because it only applies to critical strikes, obviously. And when you critical strike with a heal anyways as Elemental Shaman, it feels like it heals for a bunch anyways, so it's not necessary that you get that extra 50%. And Ancestral Wolf Affinity is good because we run Spirit Wolf, but again, I don't think it's necessary because a lot of the times you want to be doing damage as Elemental Shaman right now because you have to be applying pressure. If you're just sitting in Ghost Wolf all the time, you're not doing enough. Though being able to cast totems in Ghost Wolf is really good. So that's probably the saving grace for Ancestral Wolf Affinity for me. Also, Purge is really good because we take Inundate. And, you know, every time we Purge, we get 8 Maelstrom, which is huge. So I'm going to try out this build, though. I feel like this would be pretty good because you kind of get the best of both worlds. We get big Lava Burst damage through Primordial Surge and Flux Melting. And we also get our Stormkeeper. Definitely going to try this out. Now, note in 10.0.5, our Flame Shocks got buffed by 10%. And when we're in PvP combat, our Primordial Surge got nerfed by 10% technically. Increase the damage of your Lava Burst by, it'd be 15% in PvP combat. So I hit this PvP training dummy. You'll see it says 15% here. So basically, you know, a 10% damage reduction on that isn't the end of the world. It's not too bad. And like I said, taking Flux Melting actually counteracts that nerf completely while we still maintain that 10% Flame Shock buff, which inadvertently buffs Skybreakers by a bunch because Flame Shock crits way more often. And obviously 10% buff to Flame Shock. It's kind of crazy considering the fact that Flame Shock tends to be like our number 4 in damage. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. It's almost like a buff, realistically, what they did for us instead. And yeah, I think instead of taking Improved Flame Tongue Weapon, I'm just going to try to take Flux Melting. Honestly, guys, I've played with Ice Fury and Flux Melting before in previous builds, and I'll show you those builds. But realistically, you don't even need to cast Ice Fury because this just applies off your normal Flame Shock. So you'll see here, when I cast Flame Shock, I get the Flux Melting proc. So let's see here. If I just Lava Burst just with the Flux Melting proc, I'm doing 43k, whereas if I don't have the Flux Melting proc, I'm doing 28k. So way different damage numbers for some reason. I don't know why it feels like it applies so much more damage. I just got a proc here too. This will be a big one. 46k, pretty good. Now, the way you want to play this build, just so you guys know, we do play Primal Elementalist, so that's for our big meteors. We take Primordial Surge, very important. Take Skybreakers so we can get our Primal ELE back as soon as possible. Take Deeply Rooted Elements so you cast out as much Lava Burst as possible. Hopefully get Ascendance procs, which casts out even more Lava Bursts. And we have Stormkeeper for kind of like the mid-range damage when we need to just burst on a whim. So I can show you guys kind of how to play around this build right now. So say you're setting up on some PvP targets. You're going to spread your Flame Shocks out. We're going to cast our Badge, our Sky Fury, and our Fire Elemental. And we'll just cast Stormkeeper now, for instance. So big damage here. You can see right there, I did pretty big number, and that was in 3 globals. The Meteor hits for almost 60k, basically, just ticking. And realistically, you're going to want to Earthshock before every Stormkeeper Lightning Bolt, because every time you Earthshock, your Surge of Power will proc, which causes your next Lightning Bolt to do 2 additional Elemental Overloads. And that means that your Stormkeeper Lightning Bolt, it'll proc up to 4 times. So you'll send out 4 Lightning Bolts, each doing about 50k damage. It's pretty ridiculous. So realistically, in one global, you're doing like 200k with just one Stormkeeper. Kind of crazy. And now with this new build with the Flux Melting, we're going to want to Frost Shock before every Lava Burst as much as possible. That way we're doing big damage numbers with our Lava Bursts. So you see like 82k, it's pretty big. I think this is actually really huge. So this could be really good, guys. But yeah, this is my build. I also play Elemental Equilibrium, which is also really big. 8% damage increase every 30 seconds. It gets tracked by this debuff here. Let me get these out of the way. It gets tracked by this debuff here. So in 4 seconds, I'll have it up again. I'll show you guys how to proc that. Basically, in order to proc in order to proc you have to cast a Frost, an Earth, and a Lava spell, or a Fire spell, all within a span of time. So, you know, big damage here, 80Ks. Stormkeeper, Earth Shock into Lightning Bolt. You know, we Frost Shock into Lava Burst. And we Lava Burst, and we get another Earth Shock into Lightning Bolt. You know, just keep doing that over and over again. Earth Shock into Lightning Bolt, Frost Shock into Lava Burst. Earth Shock into Lightning Bolt, Frost Shock into Lava Burst. It's all you're doing, guys. It's like your main form of doing damage right now with this specific build. I do suggest going this build. I think this is probably the most meta build you can go right now. Like I said previously, I was going Improved Flame Tongue and Primordial Fury, but I don't think Primordial Fury is worth it. I know a lot of people are taking Power of the Maelstrom, so they get that extra Lightning Bolt Overload proc, which is an extra, like, basically 40k damage in PvP per Lightning Bolt when you're Stormkeepering, which is really good. But you have to line up the proc, which is also not too difficult, but, you know, there's a little bit of practice there to be done. You know, you have to line up the proc. But other than that, realistically, Power of the Maelstrom is really good. If you want to play a little bit more consistent damage, Flux Melting is really good. So I suggest taking this probably over Improved Flame Tongue weapon. I just feel like you do way more consistent damage with your Lava Burst this way, and it counteracts that nerf to Primordial Surge in PvP. So yeah, this is the main build here, and we're gonna go into my next build, which is my secret sauce build. I've been working on this for a little bit, and I think you guys will enjoy this one. This one's a little bit more cheesy. I feel like this isn't as good in, like, you know, real serious arenas. It's pretty good in, like, battlegrounds and, like, you know, just messing around with your friends. But basically the goal of the build is to get an Ice Fury off so we can get Electrified Shocks. We play Elemental Blast. We play double Elemental Equilibrium, which is huge. And we also play Master of the Elements. Now, what all these do when combined together... Oh, and we also play Magma Chamber. Super important. Basically, we're just trying to buff our Elemental Blast damage as much as possible, because Electrified Shocks, it says 15% increased nature damage. This applies to your Elemental Blast. So does Master of the Elements. It applies to your Elemental Blast. So right there alone is 35% increased damage. This is another 15% increased damage, so 45% increased damage. I'm trying to think. There's probably another modifier that I'm missing. But either way, basically you're just buffing up your Elemental Blast to do as much damage as possible. I'll show you how you're supposed to burst with it. So you're going to press out all your damage here. Badge, Sky Fury. You're going to Ice Fury first into a Stormkeeper here. We Frost Shock, Lightning Bolt, Lava Burst into our Primordial, or into our Elemental Blast. So that was a 150k non-crit. So Elemental Shaman's the way Elemental Shaman works. Obviously, you know, when you crit, it does 250% increased damage. So this would have crit for over 300k. It would probably actually have crit for probably like 360k. And that's just your one shot, basically. So you have to get off 2 casts, though. You have to get off your Ice Fury, and you have to get off your Stormkeeper. Now, outside of your burst, or outside of that one shot there, your damage is pretty minute. We do take Primal Elementalist, so, you know, you can have your Fire Elemental doing some pretty decent damage in the mid-range game, but you're never really going to want to cast your Elemental Blast just raw like this, because if you get kicked on Elemental Blast, you will heavily regret it, because it locks out all of your abilities. So you want to make sure you're not doing that. Another thing to note is we do take Flash of Lightning, and what this does is every time we Lightning Bolt, it reduces the cooldown of our nature spells by 1 second. That applies to Nature's Swiftness, and it applies to Spirit Walker's Grace. So you'll see every single time I cast a Lightning Bolt, this goes down 1 second. I'm not sure how I feel about this just yet. It also applies to Stormkeeper too, which is pretty important. So Stormkeeper and Nature's Swiftness are practically sharing a cooldown with this build. And we'll be spamming Lightning Bolts as much as possible just to get our cooldowns back even faster. Obviously, we're going to want to take Spirit Walkers and Spirit Walkers Aegis so we can Spirit Walk our Ice Furies without being kicked on them, because Ice Fury is actually a pretty important part, because like I said, we take Electrified Shocks. So, again, to do Burst, Primordial Wave, pop big damage, Spirit Walk into Ice Fury, Stormkeeper. We're going to Frost Shock into Lightning Bolt, into Lava Burst, into our instant cast Elemental Blast. 159k non-crit. Guys, it's pretty huge. We can then Frost Shock into Lightning Bolt, Frost Shock into Lightning Bolt, You know, just keep doing that over and over again. Like I said, you can technically cast your Elemental Blast, but it's super risky because if you get kicked on it, you're out of everything for that time being. So, again, this is kind of a cheese build. This build is really fun to use, though. In Battlegrounds, I'll show you guys some clips of it later on in the video. It's pretty entertaining to use in Battlegrounds, at least. You can just, like, one-shot people randomly across the map. You can also build up your damage on one target and basically swap to another target. The way you do this is like you build all your damage on one target, and then you're going to Frost Shock, because of your Ice Fury, you're going to Frost Shock your main kill target into your Elemental Blast, and that'll do pretty much the same amount of damage that you would have done anyways. It's pretty disgusting. So, one more time for the people in the back, you're going to badge Sky Fury into Ice Fury, the Stormkeeper, Frost Shock, Lightning Bolt, Lava Burst into your Elemental Blast. 161k non-crit. That's all procs possible. 161k non-crit. That would probably crit closer to 400k there, that one. Probably like 390. So, pretty disgusting. Definitely can one-shot somebody, especially because you got to consider your Frost Shocks alone are doing like 60k when they crit. Your Lightning Bolt also does like another, 100k. So, you're doing like 60k into 100k into a Lava Burst for like 40k. So let's see, that's like 200k right there and 3 globals, and then your 4th global is another like 300k if you crit. So you're doing like 500k damage and 4 globals basically, which is pretty good. I don't think it's the best build, like I said, and it takes a lot of setup, but it is a pretty entertaining build to play. So you guys can try that out for yourself, see how you like it. Like I said though, just be careful hard casting Elemental Blast. If you get locked out on it, you will die. And then my original build, which is the Infinite Lava Burst build. Here, let's get back our cooldown so I can change specs. Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt. So we're going to go to our... I can't change combat. Okay. We'll wait for combat. But we'll go back to our Infinite Lava Burst build, and I'll show you guys what I've changed up about that build just over time. I've added my Earth Shield. I've changed up my Shaman side to be pretty much the same every single build. But my Shaman side of things, we take Flux Melting. We take Wind Speakers with this. Now, this isn't as good now, like I said, as Skybreakers. Skybreakers is really good because of that 10% buff we got to Flame Shock. But just for this build's sake, we take Wind Speakers and we take Primordial Surge. The entire point of this build is to get the most Lava Burst procs and the heaviest Lava Burst procs possible. So, with this build, we Primordial, Sky Fury, we Frost Shock into Lava Burst, Earth Shock, Frost Shock, Lava Burst, 100k Lava Burst is pretty disgusting, honestly. Like, look at that, 5 casts, 500k total. Pretty disgusting damage. So, with this build, you just spam Frost Shock into Lava Burst. Every time you Earth Shock, you get a proc of Lava Burst, and every time you Primordial Wave, you get your Lava Burst. So, the main goal of this build is to just spread your Flame Shocks as much as possible. Primordial Wave, Frost Shock, Lava Burst, Lava Burst. You don't have a proc, Earth Shock, Lava Burst. Don't have a proc, Earth Shock, Lava Burst. Wait for a proc. We're just going to throw... Yeah. So you just basically just spam as many... this build is actually probably pretty good if you're getting trained by melee a lot and you just want to be doing damage as much as possible. Like, this might be actually the build I play compared to the Stormkeeper build versus, like, Demon Hunter DK and stuff like that, because you get so many Lava Burst procs. So much more consistently, at least. So, you're doing pretty big damage either way. Pretty massive. Just spamming this back and forth. Lava Burst. Just disgusting. Pretty serious damage, though. And like 50%, actually a little bit more because of your overloads, comes purely from Lava Burst with this build. So this is literally just a Lava Burst heavy build. Also, by doing Frost Shock, Lava Burst, Earth Shock, you're proccing your Elemental Equilibrium. So, in theory, your second... Lava Burst should proc harder than your first one. So I'll show you guys that in a second here. So we have all our procs here. We're going to Primordial Wave this because you can't Primordial Wave this. So we do Frost Shock, Earth Shock, Frost Shock here. Alright, so this is the biggest damage you can do for a Lava Burst. Actually, it's complete cap because I've seen over 100k, but still. We get the proc here. Pretty big damage. So not too bad at the end of the day. Try what you enjoy. This build is really fun in Battlegrounds because you just spread Flame Shocks as much as possible. Another key note, guys, to Elemental Shaman, when you use Earth Shock and you have Surge of Power, If you need to spread your flame shocks, you can earth shock into flame shock, and it'll put it on 2 targets. So let's see here. We got this guy and the guy in the back. That guy. So every time we cast earth shock into flame shock, we're spreading it to an additional target. So in Battlegrounds, this is super important because you're just going to be melting people like crazy fast. Pretty ridiculous damage there. Earth shock, lava burst, 95k lava burst there. Pretty disgusting though. Damage wise, you know, you're doing in PvP, in actual PvP where people have versatility, you'll probably be critting for like 80Ks with this build. Pretty consistently, back to back lava bursts. So, you know, 80K is about 20% of my health. So realistically, you know, every lava burst doing 20% of someone's health, it's pretty disgusting. And this build is all instant cast too. Like I literally don't have to cast a thing. I just go in there, spam frost shock as much as possible, basically to keep people off of me until my flame shock comes off cooldown. Primordial wave into lava burst, earth shock, lava burst, you know, frost shock, lava burst. Like I'm just spamming these buttons back and forth. There's no reason not to, but I never have to cast with this build. It's like stupendously rare that I cast with this build because all I'm doing is just spreading flame shocks and waiting for procs. So those are the 3 main builds I would suggest using for Elemental Shaman. I've tried a couple of really cheeky builds. I've tried an Earthquake build, tried to use the Stormkeeper one-shot build, but I think these are probably the best builds you can be using, and I'll show you guys some videos of those builds later on. Like I said, I think this build, though, that you're about to see right here with the Stormkeeper and the Skybreakers, is probably the most meta build I can think of. Power of the Maelstrom is really good, but again, it's really situational, and it relies on you getting Stormkeeper cast off. So if you're getting trained really hard, Power of the Maelstrom really doesn't do much because you won't be able to get your Stormkeeper cast off. It's like you're basically taking, not only are you taking Stormkeeper, but you're also taking Power of the Maelstrom and like Surge of Power entirely for the Stormkeeper. So it's like, you know, it's 4 talent points spent purely for Stormkeeper damage, which is good. You're supposed to stack like, you know, modifiers and stuff like that, but it's a lot of things to stack for just one specific ability that you have to cast and can be interrupted, and it's really hard to get off. But if you do get it off, obviously you do a lot of damage, which is why we keep it. I just don't take Power of the Maelstrom. Instead, I'm taking Flux Melting and Ice Fury, mainly for the Flux Melting, because Flux Melting is just disgusting with your Lava Burst, and it counteracts Primordial Surge's damage. Alright, that's it for our builds. And let's go over into our stat priority, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty guys, so you're seeing our stats here. We focus on versatility, then mastery, and then haste. So you'll see here, versatility I have 6,000 verse, my mastery I have 2,800, my haste I have 1,300, and my crit right now I have 700. Realistically, you don't need any crit. I just have some crit pieces left over from when I was running crit build. But yeah, also I get most of my crit from my shield and my badge here, but you want badge is really good, and obviously you need your shield, so that's where I get all my crit from. But everything else should be haste and mastery. So as stat priority sits, you're getting versatility, then you're getting mastery, then you're getting haste. So every single piece of, you know, gem slots I get, I'm going the mastery versatility gems. Every enchant I'm going mastery. I get speed enchants because I like to have 11% movement speed. It makes me feel a little bit quicker, which is good. Speed enchant there, speed enchant here. I get waking stats for my chest. I think that's about it for right now. Oh, and I get Sophic Devotion. So I was running Earthen Writ for a little bit, which is the mastery proc, but Sophic Devotion is just way better because the mastery proc like scales really poorly, I feel like, and I only get like 8% mastery from it, which isn't actually that great because all it does is make my overloads proc more often, which is good, but getting just raw damage from having a higher intellect from the proc is really important. Like I just got it right here. You'll see my stat prio went up like another 1,000, so I have over 10,000 intellect when these proc properly, which is pretty disgusting, having over 10,000 intellect, honestly. Like, you know, you just nuke damage-wise. But looking at our set pieces, because now we're into the part of the game where we can actually just form set pieces. I have not gotten a single set piece from Vault. I just got this set piece from transferring it from a conquest piece to a set piece. Looking at Elemental Shaman's set pieces, you're going to want to prioritize, I think, only 2-piece. So 4-piece is decent, where it says increases your mastery by 8%, which is good. The problem is you're giving up a lot of stat for it. Like, if you're looking at, say, your legs, right? I have way more versatility with the normal legs, and I get haste, which is way better than crit. So I'm not going to transfer my legs into the set piece because the stat priority I get from it is way better. Whereas gloves, I get haste and mastery, which are my main stats, which is why I transferred this piece over. Where looking at chest, you get haste and crit, not as good as versatility and mastery because versatility and mastery is our stat priority. So I'm not going to transfer over my tier piece or my chest piece into a tier. Looking at your shoulders, I have the Drake Breakers, which is verse mastery. This is verse haste. This isn't terrible, but helmet is far better at mastery haste. Verse haste is good, but because we already have a verse mastery piece in, I think this is just significantly better. And so realistically, as Elemental Shaman, I think the meta will be getting 2-piece instead of 4-piece, and just keeping your big pieces, like your chest and your legs, the standard gladiators pieces. But we're going to be transferring over our helmet, which is verse haste, to mastery haste because mastery is just so good for us, and we won our 2-piece. And we're going to be transferring over our gloves because haste is so good, mastery is so good. But realistically, we just want our 2-piece because 2-piece is crazy. Every single time we lightning bolt, every single time we lava burst, our next earth shock damage gets increased by 5%. It's only 2.5% in PvP, so it totals to I believe 12.5% in PvP. Let's see here. Yeah, 2.5% times 5. Yeah, so 12.5% in PvP increased earth shock damage, which is huge. It's basically the same thing as magma chamber. So magma chamber, every time it stacks, we get a good bonus from it, but it's not what it was at one point. It was double this at one point. So when we stack up magma chamber all the way, let's see here, we get 30% now, which is good, but with the set bonus, it's even better. So every time I lava burst, stacks that up. Next week I'll be getting this set piece and I'll be juicing people because I'm going to just transfer over my helmet. And basically the goal is to get max stats of that, max stats of magma chamber and earth shock, and your earth shock should be hitting for crits of over 120k at least in PvP. You want to lava burst into your earth shock as much as possible because because lava burst procs master the elements, and master the elements increases the damage of earth shock. So it all coincides with each other and you all kind of come together as one. Definitely this is what we're looking at for gear stat priority. I do take Drake Breaker's bracers, and I take the Drake Breaker's shoulders, as well as the Infurious Boots of Reprieve, because this gives you the Gladiator's Distinction, reduce the duration of incoming crowd control effects by an additional 5%, which stacks with your duration of incoming crowd control effects, reduced by 15%. So very important here, super good. And then this is really important, the Infurious Boots of Reprieve. This also scales up to 424, which is a gladiator piece. So it's basically like having a gladiator piece with an extra piece of goodness onto it. So I have 422 PvP item level, so pretty close to max. I'm actually keeping the Honors Trinket, or Honors Ring, because it's Verse Mastery, and I have Verse Mastery here. I don't want to give up the Verse Mastery. I think Verse Mastery is just too important to give up, so I'm going to keep my ring. So this is actually full gear, besides the fact that I'm going to be transferring my helmet into the tier piece next week. But that will be full gear. There'll be nothing for me to improve on except for getting gem slots every week from the vaults. So, big damage there. Not too difficult to do. Honestly, Elemental Shaman is pretty simple rotation-wise. Just keep your Flame Shocks up. Make sure you're utilizing your Frost Shock as much as possible, as it doesn't have a cooldown and it's a really debilitating slow. Remember, you have Surge of Power, so Surge of Power is super important. You get Earth Shock into Frost Shock. It's a 6-second route. Really good for kiting away from melee. It really messes them up. You can do that. I also play Unleash Shield. Super important. The reason why we're running Elemental Orbit to begin with, basically, is when you unleash, you knock them away, which is basically a Thunderstorm knock, and then after it knocks them away, it roots them in place for 2 seconds, which was nerfed from 4 seconds, but 2 seconds is still fine, still worth it. So realistically, you know, you have a bunch of stuff to keep melee off of you. It's just still really hard in the game's current state, because melee is very, very prevalent and very, very good. So, you know, just try to pump out as much damage as possible. I'll show you guys some clips of me playing these builds, and tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I think these builds are really good though, and I haven't messed around with flux melting too much with this build, so I'm excited to try this out because I just figured that out in the beginning of this video, so you guys actually saw the raw content from Dan making a build on site. Pretty crazy. So I'm going to show you guys some clips right now, and I appreciate you guys for watching because I know this is a really long video, but I think you guys need to know all the stat priority, everything like that, macro wise, just so you guys know. Important ones to look at. We got focus wind shear, we have focus hex, super important. We have our burst, which is our badge. Also, if I was playing orc, it puts in blood fury. If I play it normal ascendance, it puts in ascendance for that, so that's really important. Nothing crazy here. For the elemental blast build, you're going to want to make an elemental blast macro, which casts nature swiftness and casts elemental blast at the same time, so you don't have to click each one. This way you just get your instantaneous you basically earth shock out a elemental blast instead every minute. So this is the exact macro I used for the elemental blast build, by the way. Super, super important, actually. And then this is also for the elemental blast build. This is also the Ice Fury macro. I just macro in Spirit Walker's Grace to Ice Fury. So the second I go to burst, I can just Spirit Walkers into my Ice Fury, into Stormkeeper, and then, you know, nail them for mad damage. I also macro and Pulverize and Meteor into my Earthquake because I don't have to cast Earthquake when I get it up, but it lets me cast out Meteor without having to take up another keybind, which is really good. Meteor, by the way, is the ability from your Primal Fire Elemental here. So here, I'll click Earthquake here. You'll see the Meteor come down, which is pretty important. Also, if I have my Earth Elemental out and I press Earthquake again, you'll see it stuns. Super, super good. Note, guys, this is also really important too. So with Fire Elemental, you only get 1 Meteor per Fire Elemental, whereas Earth Elemental, you actually get 2 Pulverizes per Earth Elemental because Pulverize is on a 40-second cooldown. So try to utilize this if you can. I would open most games with your Earth Elemental to play really defensive. Also, Earth Elemental reduces... it increases the amount of health you get by a lot. So you'll see I have almost 500k health without a fort buff right now. This is just passive Dan buffs right now, which is crazy. So to have almost 500k health, it's pretty disgusting, honestly, especially in the opener of the game. So, you know, we get another stun here. Pretty crazy, dude. Earth Elemental is really good for peeling yourself early in the game, and then when you're ready for burst, swap over to your Fire Elemental and lay out some damage, you know? Also, you want to get Earth Elemental out as fast as possible because the cooldown's so long. So the quicker you get it out, the faster you'll have it back, basically. At least that's the way I look at it. Another thing too, make sure you pop your burst before you Fire Elemental, because I think the Fire Elemental's damage goes based on your stats. So the more stat you have out, so like I have almost 12k intellect, the higher damage his Meteor is going to do. Like right now, I highlighted over it, does like 65k, and it just dropped down to 54k because all my procs wore off. You see that? So his Meteor's damage, you know, 65k, scales based on how much stat you have. So if you prop everything and you get your procs, so say you wait for your Sophic Devotion and then you badge into Sky Fury into Fire Elemental, your Fire Elemental will hit the hardest, okay? So you want to make sure you have your procs out before you Meteor because his damage scales off of your stats. So be careful about that, guys. It's really, really important, actually. And I don't think a lot of people know that, but that is really, really important. Also, if you need to get your Fire Elemental back fast to do big burst damage, you can see I just got it back in like a quarter of the time because I'm just spamming Earthshock into Lava Burst, which Surge of Power reduces the cooldown of your Fire and Storm Elemental by 6 seconds every time you Earthshock into a Lava Burst. So you get back your Earth Elementals really fast, especially because we play Skybreakers as well. So I hope you guys understand that. And we'll be moving into our gameplay footage now. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. And if you have any questions, please like, subscribe. Feel free to drop a comment below. I'll answer any questions immediately. And as always, guys, I really appreciate the love and support you guys have for the Elemental Shaman Dream. I'll be posting more content soon. And I'll see you guys again.
Alright, I got it.
Okay.
I'm opening.
Alright, I'm gonna stun healer. And then I'm gonna clone.
Got a tremor here.
He's silenced.
He faked it. I'm gonna go for a hex on the lock actually, just to stop him.
Nice.
Okay. I have big damage for
I'm
lock
on
here.
the lock if that's cool.
Yeah, big damn. Okay, I'm just dying.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, you're out of my line.
No, I'm right here. We gotta kill Siphon if we can. I got it, actually.
Yep.
Oh shit, I can't get your fear. Don't worry, I'm lining them right now. I should be okay. Watch Alec. Watch yourself too, what the fuck.
I'm gonna just trank.
Okay. Alright.
I'm gonna try to make
do a
my way over
blank
to
here.
the
Yeah, I big dim. Sky Fury.
Biggest damn.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm a sap off.
Nice.
Got it.
Just hitting anything inside.
Still big damn.
Okay, I capstone off of it. Nice, dude.
Got your mind games.
Beautiful. Oh my god, that was actually such a beautiful setup, dude. They were really good too, actually, honestly. Those players were pretty good. I can Earthshock, and then I can just Frost Shock the Evoker, because it's a 6-second route.
Yeah, it's a really good thing.
That is big. Oh, man, he's got hots on both. I think we just wait until their hots run.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait.
Just chilling.
I'm gonna sap him though.
Yeah, it's
ELE at least.
Yeah, their hots are
Oh, hey.
Yeah,
Okay,
huge, actually.
Oh, I stunned him. I didn't know that was your target. Sorry.
It's okay.
It's just grounding. Got it.
That's parry.
Oh, I almost forced the fucking...
Are we on ELE?
I don't care what we're on, yeah. We can go anything right now. Watch Stormkeeper here.
Stormkeeper?
Yeah. Forcing a little defensive.
Oh.
That's his entire Stormkeeper. I should be okay. Oh, this is bad from the warrior, though.
I'm a disarm out of this.
I think I'm dead.
Storm. Nope, disarm that.
Nice.
Gouge ELE.
Dude, perfect, okay. That was like their kind of go. Going for a hex on the ELE right now. At least full hex.
Wanna swap Druid real quick?
Yeah, I'm done. I have full,
I'm in
full
a
shit
route
for him too.
Go.
Kind of scared. I'm actually gonna stop.
I'm kind of mid right now. Okay, that works. We got tons of shit there.
Yeah, this is sketch.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
We can actually kill in another Druid swap. I can kill him in like 7 seconds.
I'm gonna rip this warrior off me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm down with a druid swap again, honestly.
I'm a Gouge ELE.
Oh shit, my bad.
I'm gonna build up combo points, kick the hex. Alright, I'm ready for a Druid swap.
Yeah, let's go. Big. No. Huge. He just dies. 100%. No, they're fucking grounding totem.
Oh. And I'm in the lasso now.
Shit, I could have stopped that. My bad, bro.
It's okay. Alright, I'm off now.
Alright, I'm pulling the warrior line of sight here and trying to global him.
I got knocked really far.
Sorry, I'm forcing the warrior off me. I'm gonna root the warrior here.
I disarm.
Yeah, careful, Alec. Big demo now.
Okay. I'm gonna just vanish.
Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe another...
Lightning lasso on this good.
Maybe another Druid swap?
Yeah,
yeah, it's all you.
Yeah, it's all you. It's all you right now.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's Bark Skin.
That's huge. That's really big for just you. I knocked the warrior. Okay, I have big Dan for next go.
Alright. Catching ELE. I have disarm for warrior as well. Just holding it.
This is big Dan from ELE.
I think.
A second.
I'm gonna bomb ELE. He has no trinket.
Oh shit.
I'm gonna
yeah,
drink this.
that's huge. That's nice. Oh, nice ELE. No, yeah, this is fucking huge actually. I have Stormkeeper up and now. I'm gonna save it.
Okay.
Druid has no hots. If you can go, Druid.
Yeah, I can.
Drink this.
Got it.
Yeah, huge. Stormkeeper here. Fuck, I can't do anything else. Nice. Good job. Yeah, those Druid swaps are just crazy, honestly. Alrighty guys, that is it for the Ultimate Elemental Shaman Guide for 10.0.5. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I plan on posting more videos this coming week, probably about Elemental Shaman. I also plan on leveling some new classes, so if you guys have any ideas of what you want to see content-wise, please feel free to drop a comment below on what class you actually want to see me play. I play anything, honestly. I've played everything above 2K at this point, so please feel free to drop a comment with that. If you have any questions about Elemental Shaman or any matchups that Elemental Shaman has, please feel free to also drop a comment about that. But until next time, guys, peace!